Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining today. We'll just give another minute or two and we'll get started, okay? All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. I want to thank you for joining us today for Telecom Billing Made Simple webinar. My name is Brian Mulligan. I'm managing partner here with Catalyst Group. And hope you, all those of you that did get the opportunity to order some pizza, hope it's there or close to being on its way. So with me today, I have Hadley Berg, who is the Executive Vice President with ForgeOS, and I also have Ben Stillwagon, who is the Director of IT with Cavender Auto Family, and very lucky to have these two very thought-provoking guests joining us today. And I'm going to go ahead and run through the agenda and what we hope to accomplish today. So what is telecom expense management? What challenges do customers see in the marketplace today? We'll talk about some industry trends, the benefits of telecom expense management, and a demo of the ForgeOS and Catalyst platform. We'll share a success story, and we'll have Ben Cavender talk about his experience using the operating system. We'll talk a little bit about wireless optimization, and we definitely want to leave enough time for questions and answers today. So just a short outline on who Catalyst Group is. So we are defined by one thing, our customer success. We have over 30 years of experience in the industry, 97% customer satisfaction rate, and we utilize over 100 different technology partners to support all of our customers' needs. So why does telecom expense management matter? So what we know and what we hear from our customers every day is that keeping track of all telecom expenses is crucial for running a smooth operation. And the challenge is real, and you have to stay on top of your bills, contracts, and how your telecom services are being used, so you make sure you're getting the most out of what you're paying, and making sure that those services are helping to drive your business forward. When telecom expense management is done right, it can save you money and boost your business efficiencies. And a few key components around TEM is billing management, contract management, and usage tracking and cost optimization. The other three are inventory management. So inventory around services, meaning bandwidth, phone lines, UCaaS, all of the telecom related services, managed services. Invoice auditing and vendor management. So those of you who are involved in procurement know the chores and the challenges of doing auditing and vendor management. And you also want to be able to have clear and concise reporting and analytics to help to drive the business forward. So I mentioned customer challenges. I call them opportunities, but a lot of IT and finance leaders today face a bunch of numerous challenges in the day-to-day management of expenses and services. So what we know from our telecommunications providers are bills are confusing, sometimes intentional, sometimes non-intentional, but it gets harder and harder to understand the services that you're paying for on a month-to-month basis. Agreements have gotten much more complicated and complex with legal terms and conditions. When does the agreement start? When does it end? What am I on the hook for? What's my termination liability? What happens if I change services? Those questions come up on a day-to-day basis. With providers, a lack of visibility into the services that are being provided and the functionality of those services, uptime, downtime, SLAs, jitter, packet loss, all of those things. I'm sure if any of you are involved in billing, you've seen a number of discrepancies on your invoices. So it could be falling off an agreement that you didn't know was coming up for renewal and you went to a month-to-month service, taxes and surcharge increases. There's a whole bunch of things that happen on a month-to-month basis where those bills are very rarely static on a month-to-month basis with the costs. What is the level of support that you're receiving from your providers? So are you able to pick up the phone and call a single point of contact to get your billing and service issues resolved? Or do you spend an inordinate amount of time on hold with your providers just hoping to get to talk to someone? Managing multiple carriers becomes a challenge because sometimes when you have multiple locations, and some of you folks have multiple locations throughout the country, how do you manage those carriers effectively? How do you know which site has what service, at what level, at what phone number, at what email support address? So that becomes a challenge on a day-to-day basis for IT professionals. Service delivery dates, as we've seen in the market, service delivery dates become an anomaly. So when is my service being delivered? When is the last mile being run in? When's the managed router getting delivered? When's the service actually going to be turned up for my use? So it's important to be able to gather that information from your partners. Proactive monitoring, very key to any type of bandwidth management and UCaaS management. Really, at the end of the day, you want to know that somebody has your back. So who's minding the store, or are you hearing from your end users at your location across the country that your service is down and nobody knows, and you've got to go chase your tail to put in a ticket? Ben, I know that's never happened to you before. Mobile device management. So what we know is nobody wants to manage mobile phones. That is a true story. I hear it every day because it's complicated. You have to deal with end users, SIM cards, devices, plans, packages, data usage, calling volumes, all of those things. So effective TEM management includes a piece of mobile device management in it for it to be a success. And again, inventory management, what do you have at each site? So we're not talking about PC or switches or servers or hardware inventory management. We're talking about actual services inventory management. All of these are challenges that customers face today that we have found ways to help customers become more nimble, more effective, and more efficient. So current trends, what we're seeing is as kind of a path forward in today's environment, today's market, post-COVID, is a lot of organizations are shifting to cloud-based solutions. They want a good, solid mobile expense management program. They want to be able to effectively manage global telecom contracts and know when things are expiring so that if they have to resource or they want to reterm or they want to renegotiate, they can do that before the contract actually runs out and you get hit with overages or extenuating charges. They want real-time cost management and cost monitoring. So they want at the click of a button to be able to go into a system to be able to look at location A, what did I spend last month? What did I spend this month? And what's the variance? And at the end of all of this, the most important thing is to have a tailored TEM solution or TEM service that's tailored to your business. So not everything is a cookie cutter. Not everything is just to pick it up and move it and drop it in. The goal of all of this is to provide a solution for you to be able to effectively manage all of your telecom services and all of your expense management in one platform. So what are the benefits of effective TEM? There's obviously cost savings, better budgeting, increased efficiency, improved visibility, enhanced compliance, error reduction, and vendor accountability and scalability. So I also want to encourage you folks, the one thing I didn't say at the beginning of this, I'm sorry, was if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand, put it up in the chat. We're happy to answer any questions along the way. But I'm going to turn it over to Hadley to give a demo of our operating system platform.
Thanks, Brian. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Jennifer's, or if you're driving. Thank you. So thanks for the great introduction. It's great to be here with everyone. I'm excited to show you a little bit of the ForgeOS platform and the various solutions that we've partnered with Catalyst to bring to you. So today I'll be covering some of the key features and benefits within the platform, how it can help drive savings across your organization, as Brian has been discussing. So we'll look at the telecom inventory and the ease of finding what you're looking for. We'll also show you how to keep tabs on in-flight orders and disconnects, how to streamline your telecom billing into a single view with a whole team of people who are dedicated to reviewing and analyzing those invoices. We'll look at how to open and view trouble tickets for outages, as well as stay on top of renewals and contract end dates. And then lastly, how to reduce and manage your cell phone costs. I won't go into too much detail on the mobility side. Brian is going to talk a little bit about that at the end as well. So I will go ahead and share my screen. Just let me know when, Brian, we're good. Awesome. So ForgeOS and Catalyst Group form a very unique combination of software, services, and people to bring you value across the whole telecom lifecycle. So this platform at its heart is a lifecycle management platform, and we've helped clients with inventory visibility and also help technology advisors like Catalyst save clients money by really reporting on these metrics and bringing large data sets together in order to help them help you. So today I'll show you how you can collectively manage the full lifecycle of your telecom services from this single centralized platform without changing your current carriers or vendors. I think a lot of times people make the assumption of moving to a platform like this would require a lot of changes to your current situation. And although changes can be made in an effort to increase savings, they don't have to be made in order to reflect the inventory and manage the billing within this platform. So to begin, this is our universal dashboard. This is Reveal. It's fully customizable, so it shows you full inventory at a high level, and this would be something that your C-level executives would have access to, and it's something, everything that you'll see today is really able to be custom permission by user within your organization. So we have the ability to really narrow down the views for the different types of audiences. So this, we'll start by just kind of going through this dashboard, and then I'll dive into the inventory module. So as you can see, we have a high-level view of carrier spend, orders in flight, as well as the number of services that are being managed in this platform. We have a high-level view of things that are being priced out, so services that might be being replaced or if new locations are opening, and we're helping Catalyst to price those out. That would be visible here. We have a full contract module here, so you'll be able to see your number of active contracts and what that dollar value represents, and any trouble tickets that are open on these services. We can also see a breakdown of carriers by spend, a table view of all the contract renewals that are coming due, as well as some ticket details, any reminders that I've set myself within the platform, and other recent activity. This dashboard is, like I mentioned, fully customizable, so I can add other components to this view and really see a high level of all of the different things that are going on within my organization and our spend. So I'm gonna pivot in and show you just as an example, if I have a invoice that crosses my desk or an email that I receive about a account, but I really only have an account number or some other small piece of information, we can use our global search up here on the right-hand side and really drill down in at an account by account level. So this is actually a previous account number you'll see here. So it's not even listed as the current accurate account number. So as everyone's likely familiar with, carriers can switch these account numbers on us all the time, and it makes it kind of challenging to see the full history. But we're always going to database all relevant details about the order, and we keep that history forever. So you'll be able to really dive in and see what was going on with that individual account in a really easy way. So I'm going to click on this individual order number. This is all demo data, so forgive if the storyline isn't quite there, but we try to replicate what could be real for all of your organizations. So this here is a Comcast fiber order. I can see that it's for a location that's a regional office in Elmhurst, Illinois. I have some high-level information about the individual service here on the right-hand side, right? When it was installed, when we're looking for any updates about the order, account number information, cost information. This right here is a feed on the left-hand side. So this goes all the way back to the very, when the order was actually created, all the back and forth about getting the order installed. And again, these details will live on forever, so you can always go back and see any updates about the individual order. If there are any trouble tickets open on the order, we can view that here as well. I'll go into that a little bit more later in the demo. I also can see the active contracts. So this is tied to a contract here, a 36-month contract that I'll show a bit more later as well. If I click on the order details tab, this is where I'm going to see all the relevant information about this individual order. So this includes things like circuit IDs, IP address information, individual contact information, any other relevant details about the order. And these are customizable for your organization. So if there are things that are important for you to track, we're always happy to make sure that that information is housed here. So I'm going to kind of zoom out. We dove right into an individual order, but I'm going to zoom out and show a location view. So if I go to our location index page, this is where I really will see all of my organization's locations. And even on this page, I have the ability to, filter by, I want to see sites that are, that we've acquired recently or that we're actually offboarding. We can really drill down at the location level by status. If I click on this individual location here, this is again that regional office, I can see all of the available services, all of the active services at this location. So this particular site has a dedicated fiber circuit, a shared fiber circuit for backup. It has some UCAS and a couple of POTS lines. We've actually helped the organization spin down some inactive services that they're no longer using or needed, but we still have visibility into what those services were, what the account numbers were. And then I also have information about other services we're quoting, all the telephone numbers that are associated to this location, and any billing information for this location as well, which I'll dive into in a moment. Let's drill out even more and show you some of the reporting capabilities. So I'm going to go ahead and go into wired reports here. This is where I'll be able to pull all of the canned reports that are part of this application. We do custom reports as well. So if there are particular things that your organization needs, we're happy to pull those together. Some of the interesting ones to show are orders requiring call to action. So this is really a way for you as an organization to highlight the orders and services that need your attention, whether that's for an ROE or cost approval or any other action that Catalyst is looking for your help with. And then lastly, just a full inventory. So regardless of status, I can download a full inventory of everything that's in the OS, and that's going to then pull up a spreadsheet with location name information, address information, work order number, which we have our own, but we also track them for you. So if you have Oracle codes or any other customer specific codes, those will be in here as well. And we can help to customize this report so that it's able to be synced with whatever systems that you're using, your AP systems or other inventory systems. We do also always look into integrations. So if it's better to provide this in some sort of a secure feed, we can do that as well. But this is going to show everything from the carrier information, the service information, speed information, account numbers, status information, and then cost information, contract information. So really the full gamut of all the lifecycle management that we're doing within this platform. Any questions so far? I want to make sure I didn't miss any. Oh, good. So I'm going to drill into billing a little bit more and show you actually a new dashboard that we have been working on that's going live next month, really in the next couple weeks. So this is the billing overview dashboard. This shows the number of bills that have been processed, new accounts that have been added, accounts that have been disconnected, some information about total billing, including what's new versus what's been disconnected. We have over here on the right-hand side, we have a breakdown of spend. This is by charge type. So you'll be able to see the percentage of your organization's spend that's on these different categories, and also by service. So, are we spending more of our organization's money on voice services or data services or other managed services or security or cloud, and really be able to drill down at that level. We'll always have a rolling 13-month trend of total spend. We're actually thinking about adding in an overlay here that shows number of locations over time so that you can see that, okay, our organization's spend is growing, but we're also growing. So that makes sense, and to see it as, relatively to that. And then we'll also show a breakdown of top spend by carrier. So this is similar to the component that's on our reveal dashboard, but the ability to break it out by charge type here on the bottom. So going back into the OS and looking at that Elmhurst location again, I'm going to show some of the billing specifically to an individual location. So if I come over here to the carrier bills tab, I can see that we show all of the individual invoices for the services that we're doing bill aggregation for. So if I click on this one for that Comcast fiber order that we were previously looking at, I can see that this is the first bill of a new account this month, and it shows prorated charges for these specific dates. I can also see other months associated with this individual invoice. These are some high-level metrics about the bill itself. We always store the underlying PDF bill in our system, so you'll be able to quickly pull that up if needed. But we're breaking out all the individual charges, showing variances over time, and any other locations that are part of this hierarchy bill. So that's an individual bill. I'll go into all of our bills and show you the ability to break out by variance. So as I mentioned, we're going to help look at bills that have gone up or down. If I come in here and filter by above 10%, I can see this other bill that maybe has a variance due to increase in usage. So there's always going to be a note right here up at the top that explains what's going on with this individual invoice. Again, a copy of the bill is here as well. All of the previous month's history will be listed right here. So one of the additional ways in telecom in terms of saving is staying on top of your contract renewals. So I'll head back to that Elmhurst location and show you some of the contract details. So we were able to see that one Comcast contract before. At this location, there are 4 active contracts. I'd also be able to see any inactive contracts that might have expired. But looking at an individual contract here, I can see that this contract for the Comcast fiber actually has multiple locations on it. So if I click on this locations tab here, I can see that there are 4 Comcast circuits that are associated to this one individual contract. And we're tracking these both by sign date and install date. So that's one of the nuances within telecom contracts, is really that the contracts get signed and may expire on the sign date, or especially if there are multiple locations, multiple services, they might actually expire all at different times depending on when those services were installed. So it's really important as an organization to stay on top of those end dates and make sure that renewal terms are favorable, and that your organization has the visibility to make those actions. So that goes back to in some of our dashboards that have contract renewal tables and other ways of reporting in order to get that information out of the platform to act on. So the 2 final things I want to show is our ticketing system and a little bit about mobility as well. So as I mentioned, the system has a full trouble ticket integration module. So no swivel chairing into other platforms or systems. It's all right here. I can go ahead and create a new ticket, and I'll show you what that process looks like. But this is our ticket heat map, and this will show us the ability to look into each individual ticket and also get a sense of any major outages, especially if your organization is multi-regional. If I click this arrow here, it will actually take me into the individual ticket. Same thing as on the order page and other pages in the platform. We really have a history here on the left-hand side and sort of back and forth dialogue, and then an overview of the ticket itself. Very similar to other ticketing systems, I can add people to the watch list. I can make sure other members of my team are informed about any updates to this ticket. And again, we will integrate. We have different kind of varying levels of integrations with other ticketing platforms, but if you're using ServiceNow or other ticketing systems, we can absolutely help make sure that changes that are reflected in our OS are also updated in your ticketing system. If I needed to open a brand new ticket, we have this essentially ticket picker page. So going into wireless, just as an example, we partner and have a full mobility team. So we are able to do device upgrades and ports and transfers, cancellations, really full management of your wireless, your spend with Verizon and AT&T and all cell phones and hotspots that may be associated to those accounts. One of the key pieces of the wireless module is this overview page. So this is going to show a very high level of all of your spend with, again, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Brian's going to talk a little bit about this at the end of the presentation, but this is really, taking a look at the devices that are moving around with all of your employees versus the previous part of this demo is really focused on locations, services that are tied to individual addresses and locations. So the system handles both, and it's all in one place, just slightly different data sets. So we have an overview of savings, a breakdown of individual devices. Down below, we show usage. So we show usage information as a whole. And again, this is if your organization has multiple accounts with multiple providers. That's really where the value starts to drive home, because you don't have to swivel chair or log into lots of different accounts to be able to see this type of information with an AT&T or Verizon. You come into ForgeOS and you can see this across your whole company. We're also looking at individual bill totals as compared to the number of lines that are growing or shrinking within your organization. We're pulling out and showing top data users at your organization. One of the unique features of ForgeOS is that we have a full active user management module. So that really means that we're integrating with your HR systems to be able to show accurate employee data and tie that data to mobile devices with these carriers. So where Verizon might only show a couple of custom fields, and it's really hard to manage things like cost centers and accurate employee names, where you might have a Maverick Bates and an M Bates and a Mav Bates or a Mr. Bates. Here in the OS, it's always going to be Maverick Bates, and we can see his full history of all the phone numbers he's ever had, the devices that he's ever had. If Maverick leaves the organization, we can then repurpose his line, and I'll show what that looks like in just a minute. So we have a full breakdown of each individual monthly charge. I'm going to go into wireless lines and go ahead and show you. I'll use an employee named Leaf Jackson. So here's one of his phone lines associated to him, an Apple iPhone 11. I can edit this and say, I want to return this phone to inventory, or I want to, Maverick got a new manager, and let's say it hasn't quite synced yet with our HR data. I'm going to go ahead and update it manually, or I can give Maverick's phone to somebody else, and I can actually change the wireless user that's associated with this line. In this history tab here, I can see the previous device models that he's had, and this lives on forever. So, we're not deleting this every 3 years. This is going to be your organization's really true timeline and history of all included spend and devices. If I head back into wireless reports, I just want to show some of the reports available on the wireless side. So this is where we're going to be able to look at things like the lines that are out of contract, lines that are suspended, active lines with no users, right, where we might be paying for lines and devices that aren't associated with a person right now, and that we can repurpose as an organization. So keep in mind, this is a lot to digest. I'm more than happy to go in deeper depending on kind of where this conversation goes, and with anyone that has any follow-up questions. If you decide to move forward, keep in mind that there will be plenty of formal trainings, and we'll help identify the various areas that you would need to be aware of. We also do have a really great help center and some self-help resources that will enable you to find what you're looking for and make sure that you feel comfortable within the application. Brian, I'm going to wrap it up and hand it back to you to cover the rest of the things on our agenda for today. Thanks, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Hadley. I appreciate it. Bear with me 1 second here, guys. So wanted to take a few minutes so we can talk about the platform till blue in the face and how great it is and how we see it. But that's just how we see it. So we've been working with Ben Stillwagon and Cavender Auto family for the last, I'm going to call it, 15 months or so. So I'll talk quickly to the pain points, and then I'm going to have some questions for Ben so he can share his experience with you. But the main pain point really at the end of the day was a lack of clarity and control over their telecom billing and inventories. What the solution ended up being for Cavender was seamless real-time reporting, visibility into contracts, ordering, inventory, procurement, trouble tickets, and billing all in one place. And what Cavender was able to realize as a positive business outcome was consolidated multiple carrier invoices into one, doubling their bandwidth, reducing costs by 20%, and all the while empowering them to make better decisions going forward on how to manage their fleet of services. So, Ben, if you could just take a second to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Cavender and what you do there.
Yeah, definitely, Brian. Thank you. So I'm Ben Stillwagon, Director of IT for Cavender Auto Family. And we have 17 automotive dealerships across Texas and Oklahoma. And we actually, like Brian said, have been working with Forge for about 15 months. And we have 20, I counted this morning, we have 27 accounts in the Forge system. It's been a great partnership. But like a lot of us do, right? We all juggle 15 different things at once or more. And sometimes with POTS lines, telecom circuits, things of that nature, you set and forget, and you move on to other projects and other tasks. And just like Brian was talking about, that was a pain point. And I know we're going to get into the questions, but we grew very fast. We were 6 dealerships 3 years ago, and then 17, so almost 3 times in 3 years. Lots of locations, lots of buildings, lots of entry points for circuits. So it was a lot to manage. So, but that's overall. We're based in Texas. We're based out of San Antonio, and so that's us.
Thanks, Ben. So I think you kind of touched on the challenges you were facing before we engaged with you to bring you into the ForgeOS. What would you say, for you personally at the IT level, like what was your biggest challenge with managing, so growing 3 times in 3 years? What was your biggest challenge?
So really for me, I mean, when you're juggling so much, you have a lot of internet circuits, you buy stores, you buy, all these buildings that come with the dealerships, you buy collision centers and things of that nature, right? And you inherit stuff that you know of when you sign up, you sign contracts and everything when you're buying these stores, but then you inherit things that you find out down the line that you're like, oh, we're paying for that. So that was definitely a challenge, and just getting my head around all of that has taken me many hours. Really, circuits were something that managing internet circuits, or when something's down, it's like it takes up a lot of time, and there's a lot of different systems I have to go into to figure out what we had, and I was trying to manage it all on spreadsheets, right? And we all know how that goes, and you don't get a lot of information, and one of the biggest things for us from a cost standpoint was, in Texas, a business does not have to notify another business of an auto renewal. They don't have to, by law, do any sort of notification. So we're getting auto renewed on contracts that I really didn't even know we had, or I did know, and just so many things happen, and you kind of, they fall by the wayside because you just have so many other higher priorities. So, partnering with Forge has helped that out a lot. So. That was my probably biggest challenge, is just managing it all.
So Ben, talk a little bit about the benefits to not only the IT team but the finance team, and kind of what they've seen. So we know when we first started going down this road, we know that your accounting team was kind of like, whoa, what are you doing?
For sure.
But maybe you could talk through that evolution and what they learned and how you've grown from that.
Definitely. And I will say, from working with Forge, before we get into that, has been really been pretty awesome. We work with we met with them weekly, myself and the Catalyst team and Forge, and they were so patient with me because trying to find everything took a long time. I mean, that's why we've been working on this for 15 months because it's just because like I said, you set and forget, and sometimes when you buy these locations, they don't know what they had because they've just been paying them for years, and it just gets hidden. So so I really wanted to consolidate that and bring that all together. And working with the Forge team has been great in terms of the billing aspect. They send my AP team, we centralize our accounts payable here in San Antonio, and they send them a spreadsheet with our 27 accounts on it by location, and they will literally put anything on there that makes sense to your AP team. And so my AP team can just go right down the list and bill out our stores accordingly. And that's been great. And that variance column or that you saw in the dashboard, they'll put that on the spreadsheet too, so you can see that, oh, my bill has gone up 10%. What's the reasoning? Or it's gone down. Maybe a promo has ended. So it's got the contract dates, all of the details. It just gives you everything in one pane of glass, just like the Forge dashboard. So it's really been great working with the AP team. They love it. If they have any questions, they reach out directly to the Forge team, and they're super quick to respond. So it's been really good.
So Ben, last question. I think you've talked about efficiency and visibility and savings and management and all of those things. I think one of the things you shared early on with us was that that there was this divide between accounts payable and IT, and there was always some form of question or concern or
Yeah,
mistrust or whatever it may have been.
for sure.
Maybe talk a little bit about how this kind of brought them and you together, because I think that's where the magic kind of
Yeah.
happens with
There's
this
there's a
platform.
lot of back and forth. I mean, and you guys experienced it too, right? When we were trying to track down internet bills, like I said, there's a ton of different systems that we have. We're in different markets of Texas, different markets of Oklahoma, and lots of different carriers, and trying to pull that together. And then our AP team saying, "Hey, what's this bill for?" And I'm like, "Gosh, never seen that one before. Let's take a look at that, right?" And so um, it's just made it so much easier in terms of yeah our relationship with our AP team. There's none of that back and forth anymore. There's no time wasting on trying to figure out what something is or why a bill went up. So they can and the biggest benefit is, and I know for my AP team, they process, especially at our Toyota store, which is one of the largest in the nation, they process thousands of invoices weekly, right? And for them to not have to really even think about the telecom side of things or the POTS lines, and it's just all there in a spreadsheet, has been really helpful for us as a team, and lets them be able to move on. I know I talked to our director of accounting a lot and our CFO, and they just think it's they've seen it. I've shown them the Forge dashboard, and they're like, "Wow, that's a pretty cool product." Because they know they've been in automotive for a long time. They've can't come from massive public groups where there's just internet bills everywhere, and a lot of times the stores are like, "I don't know, we just always paid it." So so it's been great. Like I said, I've really enjoyed the partnership. The Forge team has been really wonderful to work with, the Catalyst team. I'm excited because we've got some more circuits that we rolled under their AP Assist program, which Catalyst did not procure those to procure those circuits. We just rolled them into the billing, so it could all still be in that consolidated platform. And then I'm excited because we'll eventually price those out, and I know we'll get better pricing when those circuits come due. So I'm excited for that.
Thanks, Ben. We really appreciate your insight and guidance and partnership. And I'll just open it up quick to see if anybody has any questions for Ben and his experience. Okay. Well, we'll move on to the last couple of pieces of information. So, wanted to talk to you a little bit today about mobility optimization. So, one of my earlier taglines was "Nobody wants to manage mobility, and nobody understands the bills," and it seems to be a common thread. But what we can help with, and one of the areas we can help with is mobility optimization. So, what I want to make sure is clear is that this is not a forklift from carrier to carrier. This is not swapping out devices or SIM cards or plan or anything like that, or changing contracts or the way you procure devices. This is straight up a cost optimization program that helps to reduce costs, streamline mobility management, lower operational costs, improve your mobility management, and enhance productivity. So what do we know? We know that for the customers who have done this program, they have saved somewhere between 50 and 40% a month, depending on the provider and the number of devices that they have. So what does that equate to? It equates to you being able to do other IT projects that you may not have anticipated being able to complete this year. May fund another piece of hardware that you needed, may increase bandwidth on a circuit. So there's a lot of different areas that these dollars, and it's real money back to you guys. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a customer that we did a mobile optimization program for. Hope Health is a large healthcare facility in Rhode Island. So about 1,000 devices. It was a real challenge for them with this very small IT team to manage the day-to-day, what user is on which phone, on which plan, spending boatloads of money. And what we were able to do for them was we were able to consolidate all of that into a centralized portal, so they no longer had to log into Verizon or AT&T for their services to see what was going on. Gave them full visibility into their mobile inventory, and it gave their staff a lot of time back. But with that said, came a almost $7,000 a month savings, so almost a little over $85,000 annually to help fund other IT initiatives. And what they're able to do is they're able to use the Forge dashboard to manage those wireless services to see what's going on. And every month they're seeing those reductions, and they're able to reapply that to, in their case, fund another IT staff member. So, $85,000 is a lot of savings. And it wasn't that they were mismanaging their fleet. They just didn't have the staff to do it. So it's a real area where if you have a corporate mobile plan, it's a real benefit for you guys. There's no cost associated with doing the assessment. So as part of this comes a free no cost mobile assessment, or if you'd like to see an individualized, specialized demo with Hadley and her team, we can also set that up if you want to hear more. But again, I'm going to go ahead and want to be cognizant of the time. We're coming up on 45 minutes past the hour, so I want to be cognizant of everyone's time and make sure we stay in our lane. But I'll again open it up for any questions, concerns, complaints, anything you guys want to share.
Brian, I have a question. How long does it, from customer engagement perspective, how long getting prepared for a mobility assessment, how much of the customer's time is invested in doing that?
Sure, it's minimal. So really, at the end of the day, the short process is you provide a mobile bill, a current mobile bill, and a device report. So whether that's Verizon or AT&T, and you can get those right out of the portal. And typically within about 5 to 7 days, we get that initial look at your plans, what your spend is, what the potential reduction is. From that point, we'll put together a formalized proposal. We'll also need to gather some additional information out of your portal. So we want to look at some historical data. So typically we will have, get added as a guest user to that portal. We'll pull, 6 to 12 months worth of invoices just to check data usage, voice usage, increases and decreases in number of users, that type of thing. And I would say all in to the point where we would come with two options. So option one is if you do A, B, and C, you will recognize this amount of savings. And option two, if you only do A and B because that's what you're comfortable with, you may realize a little bit of less savings. I would say from cradle to grave, Michelle, the process probably is 3 weeks total tops. And what we try to do is we try to understand the billing cycle too, because we want to get those savings into the bill as quickly as possible. So we will move with efficiency to make sure that if this is something that you're really interested in doing and you like the savings and you like the options, we want to get it applied to the to the next billing cycle as quickly as possible so you guys can recognize those savings.
Great, thank you. And then, Brian, there's no impacts to the customer service with any changes they make?
Not at all. No end user changes, updates, anything like that at all. You're not changing carriers, SIM cards, devices, contracts, anything like that. And just by way of example, we have another large client who does this with us, and they are constantly flipping out their mobile devices. But the best part about it is we're handling it for them in the OS, so they're not having to call into Verizon or AT&T to make those changes and spend an inordinate amount of time on the phone. And then when we're reassigning that device, it's being done right through the OS.
So do you, like, if we were needing new devices, do you reach out to you to get additional lines and devices added, or do you reach out to the carrier?
Yep, we can do it for you. So we can be a full one-stop shop to do that work. So if you were looking to add iPads or iPhone or Android or whatever it is, we can do it direct through the carrier. We also have the ability. So some people use a VAR or an aggregator to do that work. So like a wireless zone type of store, and we can partner with them to process those orders through there as well, but keeping it in a one-stop shop through the OS. Everybody's eating their pizza. Well, guys, I want to thank everybody for their time today. I hope this was informative. I hope it gave you some food for thought, some things to take away. Think there's definitely an opportunity for everyone to improve in their telecom expense management, and we hope that we can help to be a part of that. Thanks again for joining us today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to help and answer any questions you might have. Thanks everyone.
Thanks,
have a great
everyone.
day. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.